billion people live on $2.5 per day. 1.4 billion people live in extreme poverty. 2.5 billion people have inadequate home. 2.4 billion have no sanitation. 2 billion people do not have modern forms of energy. By 2030, 30 million more people may be hungry because of climate change. Approximately 33 million hungry people in Bangladesh cannot afford the minimum standard of nutrition. Technical change has the potential to help millions of people in their daily struggle to survive. Improved technologies can bring poor people better livelihood options, increase their productivity and incomes, improve the quality of the goods and services they use, and enhance the quality of their lives. Practical action works with poor people to demonstrate practical answers to poverty. Practical action believes technology can play a vital role to improve poor people's livelihoods. Technical changes have potential to help millions of people in their daily struggle to survive. A sustainable world free of poverty and injustice in which technology is used for the benefit of all. Practical action draws on over 40 years' experience in technology poverty. Back in 1960s, a small group of inspired people, led by the economist and author of the famous book Small is Beautiful, Dr. Shoemaker, established Practical Action, the former ITDG. The use of technology to challenge poverty by building the capacities of poor people, improving the access to technical options and knowledge, working with them to influence social, economic, and institutional systems for innovation and the use of technology. In Bangladesh, Practical Action started its journey in 1990, focusing its work on food production, agro-processing, small enterprise, and some small-scale infrastructure work. Practical Action Bangladesh is reaching around 250,000 poor people directly in each year in 22 districts through more than 50 partner organizations. The approach is to help people with innovative ideas and put into practice using participatory action plan development for vegetable and other productions, for example, sandbar cultivation, access to market and practicing participatory market system method. Working model lies on learning from experience and others to generate upgraded knowledge to find solution. Innovation of new solution put into demonstration and practice within communities using participatory approaches. Extend capacity building support for the GO or NGO staff for replicating to other areas. Knowledge generation is a continuous task for practical action, which is internationally well recognized and widely disseminated. To scale up the learning experience, it is shared with stakeholders and partners or allies to influence for replication. Change of practices is inevitable not in the project sites but also many parts of the country. All these research findings are promoting and advocating to the policy planners to change policy. Practical Action Bangladesh focuses its work on food security, market system, disaster, climate change, rural and urban infrastructure services, and knowledge management. We help poor communities to respond to the challenges of new technologies, helping them to access simple, effective technologies that can change their lives forever.
We know that in the world today, rapid technological changes are taking place, but is it benefiting the poor? What we see that the poor people have not at all benefited from it. And ultimately, this is creating more inequality, poverty, and deprivation. Since the last 20 years, Practical Action Bangladesh has been working with poor people to help them access simple, effective technologies that can change their life forever.
The programs and projects are being implemented into 3 thematic areas, namely Aim 1, Reducing Vulnerability; Aim 2, Markets and Livelihood; Aim 3, Infrastructure Service. The 4th aim is responding to new technologies within 3 aims with integrated approach. Under the Reducing Vulnerability program, we strengthen the ability of poor people to use technology to cope with threats from natural disaster such as flood, river erosion, cyclone, environmental degradation, and social conflict. For example, since 2002, we have been supporting about 20,000 river erosion displaced people to revive their livelihood in the most disadvantaged areas. With a bundle of small technology options, both farm and non-farm, we have successfully reduced hunger and unemployment of 30,000 households living in the flood and drought-affected areas over the last 6 years. We have generated significant lessons and evidence on low-cost comprehensive livelihood solutions for the extreme poor, of which sandbar cropping with pumpkin is a specific example.
তিস্তা নদীর ধারে মনে করেন ফুটবলও সম্পূর্ণ পড়ে আছিল, আমি ধারণা করি নাই যে এই ফুটবলের মধ্যে কোনো আবাদ হবে। ওই কুমড়ের বীজ গাড়িয়ে এখন ওই ফসল দিয়ে আমার কি বছর চলে।
আমার কিছু ধানের জমি এবং সবজি জমি আছে, সেখানে আগে আমি যে ফসল আবাদ করতাম সেখান থেকে আমার বছরে 7 মাসের খাবার আসতো। প্রশিক্ষণ পেয়ে আমি জানতে পেরেছি যে একটা জমিতে কিভাবে 3-4টা সাথী ফসল চাষ করে ভালো ইনকাম করা যায়।
Floating vegetable garden, cage fish culture, resettlement of river erosion displaced people, light engineering works are the other successful examples. Markets and Livelihoods program aims to raise the net income of 330,000 poor and disadvantaged rural people by 50% and to raise the net income of at least 77,000 ultra-poor by 70% by the year 2012. To attain the target, the program practices PMSD, Participatory Market System Development Approach. This is a unique approach of its kind, helps poor producers and private public market actors understanding the complexity of market. Using PMSD approach, poor producers have started gaining positive impact in their life and livelihoods. They are now able to overcome poverty, hunger, and sufferings of their life.
আমার দুটা গাবি আছে, আমার 5 কেজি দুধ পাই গাবি থাকে। আমার বাড়ির খাবার থুয়ে আমরা দুধ বিক্রি করি 4.5 কেজি 4 কেজি। সেই হাসা আমার গোয়াল এখানে আসে আমি এক জায়গায় থাকি, সবারই দুধ নিয়ে যায়। সে দুধ বিক্রি করে বাড়ির সংসার চলে।
Infrastructure Services Program targets people vulnerable to natural disasters. Limited access to basic infrastructure services such as water and sanitation, energy and housing. The program builds partnerships with them involving local government institutions and NGOs for achieving sustainable poverty reduction. To overcome poverty, it provides skill development training, material, and networking support for marketing of goods and services for employment and income generation using PTD, Participatory Technology Development Approach. The community-led basic infrastructure services of this program have already been able to increase incomes and reduce health expenditures of its target people. The program also developed a pro-poor public-private partnerships at the community level, which resulted in a funding allocation to address the needs of the slum dwellers by Faridpur municipality. In years to come, we look forward to develop and disseminate appropriate and new technologies for sustainable livelihood and poverty alleviation. Graduate poor people out of poverty through scaling up and out our successful approaches. Strengthen capacity of poor people so that they can cope with environmental degradation and improve their ability to rebuild their homes and livelihoods for long term. Forge better market linkages and increase productivity of small-scale businesses. Help poor people to plan, build and run services for themselves, often in partnership with local government or private sector providers. Contribute towards better policies for small farmers, producers, processors and entrepreneurs. Improve poor people's access to resources and infrastructure to develop their livelihoods. Undertake action research for testing and improving alternative and appropriate technologies and approaches for field implementation and adaptation. Develop and build capacity of organizations working for the betterment of poor people. Learn and share knowledge, information, and experiences locally and internationally for better understanding and work effectively. With the global and local context of poverty, with the challenges in development, practical action will work for the innovation and use of technology to challenge poverty by demonstrating results, sharing knowledge, and influencing others. We'll continue to build the capacity of poor people, improve the provision of knowledge, and influence social, institutional, and economic system. Support policymakers in understanding the role of technology in poverty reduction.